Geek Out! Ladies and gentlemen, 2 years in the making. It's finally happened.
Finally.
I've been promising a wrestling podcast ever since that episode where I announced that I had started watching wrestling. I think like around episode 50.
Yeah, it was so long ago, I don't even remember listening to it.
Yeah. So, as you may have noticed, there is a new voice in the house.
Yes.
This is my good friend Timmy C, or
That's right.
however he wants to go by.
That's what I'll go by tonight. That's
okay.
fine. Yeah.
I probably should have asked and been like, "Hey, don't use my real name.
No, it's fine.
Use my gimmick name."
Yeah, heck yeah.
Anyway, so this is what did I say? GCW?
It's always a good start when you can't remember the name. We're on a roll so far. This is good.
Yeah, this is GCW, Geek Out Championship Wrestling.
Right. Not to be confused with ECW.
No.
But you kind of got the same connotation, which is pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, that was the whole idea.
Don't want to brag, but
yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Good job. It was a group effort.
That's true.
Because I originally wanted it to make more sense that it was like a podcast, and I called it GCP for Geek Out Championship Podcasting. But
I figured it was assumed that we had a podcast,
right? Because it's an audio medium,
right?
Anyway, also fun fact, just as a quick Geek Out Podcasting Network. A thing. This is technically the first official episode to go up on our YouTube channel.
Oh,
because
wow.
we now have YouTube integration.
I am breaking the seal in style.
Yes.
Look at that.
So real quick, tonight we are going to be watching Survivor Series.
Yes.
But before we do anything with that, let us just introduce ourselves and talk about how we got into wrestling. Timmy C, take it away.
Oh, boy, I get to go first.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know. All right, well, without further ado, I am Timmy C. And actually, what was really cool was when I first met Chris doing, I play in a band, and I
bounce at a bar.
Don't want to brag.
Our eyes locked from across the room.
Yeah, he threw his weight around, and I was like, "How you doing?" He goes, "Oh, Enzo Amore," and I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we know each other. Hey,
yeah,
all right."
I think, because you guys had played at my bar a couple times, and then Brian started dating one of the waitresses.
Yeah, that's true.
Who is like one of my good friends from years and years, and then you guys were playing on or around Halloween.
Yep.
And you were dressed as Dean Ambrose, and I was wearing a Dean Ambrose shirt underneath my security shirt.
What are the odds?
Yeah.
And you were the only one that understood. Everyone's like, "Oh, hey, what are you supposed to be?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a wrestler." They're like, "Oh, like Hulk Hogan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what it is." Yep, you got me. So anyway,
the DA stands for Hulk Hogan.
Right, exactly. Don't ask is what it should have said. You know?
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, listen here, brother. So I actually got into wrestling when I was in elementary school. I had some friends. They were really big into DX,
right?
And so
that makes sense. A lot of people our generation. That's kind of what it was.
And they were on the playground and they were doing the croc chop and everything. And I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And they were like, "Oh, it's DX and this, that, and the other." I was like, "Okay, well, I'll check it out." So I checked out a couple episodes of Raw. Actually, I think my first episode of Raw, they were building up to a pay-per-view. Don't ask me, I don't remember, but they were building up to a pay-per-view, and I was like, "Oh, a pay-per-view, that's pretty cool." Mm-hmm. Well, we weren't the richest family in town, so the way I would rig the pay-per-view is with the cable, you could flip to the pay-per-view channel, and it would flash it for like 2 seconds and then flash off.
I remember doing stuff like that.
So I would flip it and try to get it. So ultimately, I just watched a lot of pre-shows because the pre-shows on the pay-per-views were free. Mm-hmm. So it would just introduce a match, and it, sometimes it was good. It's not like how it is today.
Right.
But it was pretty good back then to a point that it was like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, former friends, and then they would have like whatever their interaction, and it was like now enemies.
Yeah.
Sunday. So that kind of got me started, and then it kind of fell off because I was like, I'm not going to buy the pay-per-views. I'm hearing about it after the fact, whatever. So I went on to other stuff, and then a buddy of mine back in 2007 was like, "Hey, do you follow wrestling at all?" And I was like, "Oh, I used to," or whatever. He was like, "Well, you should check it out. Me and my cousin, we watch it, every so often. They only watch like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, etc." So I turned on.
They're like Christmas and Easter Christians.
Pretty much. That's exactly right. So I checked out an episode of Raw, and it was back in 2007, and it was right after WrestleMania, and that was when they had Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, which was always my favorite. Is my favorite match.
Yeah,
was my favorite match, and now it's its own pay-per-view.
Thank you, Chris Jericho.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm rocking a Jericho shirt tonight.
Nice.
Yes, that's right. So anyway, and they were showing a highlight package of that's when Jeff Hardy jumped on Edge, who was on that ladder. He jumped off the ladder, hit him. I was like, whoa, I got to find out more about this Jeff Hardy guy. And I was a total
this Jeff Hardy kid. He's going places.
Exactly. He was already in WWE for years. Actually, he was actually in TNA. He had a stint in TNA and actually Ring of Honor, too, in the middle there. But anyway, so I was like, man, this is awesome. So I got hooked right away.
Right.
And at that point, I was living on my own, so I was like, I can order pay-per-views now. So I started following it, and I'll never forget, I had my buddy and his cousin over, and it was the Royal Rumble in 2008, and that's when John Cena came back after that neck surgery.
Right.
And it was like a 3-month thing, and he came out, and it was a big deal. But I've been hooked ever since. I've been following it, nonstop since then.
Yeah.
Of course, I mark out for certain.
Of course.
But
you have your favorites.
But I mean, ultimately, my big time favorites has to be. I mean, Chris Jericho ranks pretty much towards the top for me. A lot of people are like, oh, Hogan and The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But to me, Chris Jericho, and I don't know if you've read any of his books, fantastic reads.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big reader.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. They're all on Audible, and I think he narrates, not all of them, but I think he narrates a couple of them on Audible.
That would probably make it better.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, because he gives you behind-the-scenes stuff, and that to me really solidified him as one of the top favorite wrestlers of mine. But that's kind of my life story in kind of like a nutshell. I try to make it quick and a little bit entertaining for people.
Yeah, I have a similar long con, if you will, for wrestling, because I too, we're about the same age.
Yeah.
In our super late 20s,
early 30s.
Yeah.
Give or take. Give or take. Right.
Yeah. So I heard a lot about the Attitude Era wrestling, but I never had like a friend who was into it. So I never had that like gateway, because I would flip through the channels, and every once in a while I distinctly remember seeing getting the pants scared off of me by The Undertaker way back in the day,
right,
when he was still doing, I want to say it was either a coffin match or a buried alive match,
right,
which is things that I know now,
right,
but I didn't know what was going on back when I was a kid. But I was just flipping through the channels, and I see this spooky looking guy talking straight to the camera, and I was like, what's this? And he's it's him, and I probably Paul Bearer too, because at that time they were together.
Yeah, he was the manager.
And he was just talking like, I'm gonna bury you, and then and I was just like, oh my god, he's gonna kill a guy, and like it just, I was like, nope, click, this is too much for me. Yeah. And then like just every once in a while, just you hear about it, you have friends that are into it. I know people that have been watching for years and years and years, and I would hear about it every once in a while. And then around 2000, probably 2005 ish,
right,
I got looking back on it, I'm not too crazy about it, but I got really into the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh yeah,
and they are huge into wrestling.
Okay,
and I had a friend who. We were both, ICP fans.
Right.
And he had all of the Juggalo Champion shit wrestling DVDs.
Really?
Or I guess they were probably VHSs at that point.
Yeah.
And we watched all of those, and I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of entertaining. I could get into this, but still never bit the bullet on watching Raw or SmackDown or whatever the brands were at the time, because I was so intimidated by catching up with the story. Because one thing that I did know, the log line for pro wrestling is it's like soap operas for guys,
right?
And I was like, well, I'm going to be so lost and confused if I just jump on. I need I need, I'm the Padawan. I need, a Jedi Knight to take me under their wing, and I didn't have that person.
Right.
So I still, stepped away, and then I want to say it was 2014, 2015, at AwesomeCon, this local convention to the DC area that I go to. Seth Rollins had just become champion. So it was after the Shield, after Money in the Bank. He cashed in at WrestleMania. It was like a month later, because AwesomeCon is always like at the end of spring or beginning of summer, and it would have just happened that April.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that was 2015. Anyway, so he's there, doing photo ops, and then I think it was Natalia as well. All I remember is that it was a WWE diva. Doesn't matter. I remember seeing like a picture of Seth Rollins and be like, well, "Fuck that guy!" Him and his like stupid bleached.
Yeah. It was just a streak.
Yeah,
too.
just a streak.
Yeah.
And like him sitting in his like flak jacket or whatever, the shield thing. Even though he wasn't part of the Shield anymore, but like that was the promo shot that AwesomeCon had. And then it also had like him with his belt, and I was like, fuck this guy, fucking wrestling's dumb or whatever, And then like I was hanging out with one of my, look at that, Enzo beat Kalisto. We have the pre-show going on mute right now.
How you doing?
Although there was that while you were talking, there was a little like flippy move that Kalisto did that was almost like a rollover Canadian destroyer.
Yeah,
it looked pretty good. It was pretty cool. I like. Kalisto does some cool flippy shit.
Well, I like cool moves. I mean that's something to mark out for.
Which is why you love Enzo Amore.
No, not really.
He's your favorite. Anyway, so it looks like Enzo Amore is going to be the 205 champ for a little bit longer. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a maybe we'll get a Neville run in. Nope, they've cut back to Renee. That means they're done. Yeah. Anyway, now that we're done with that distraction,
Dagger.
So at that show, I happened to run into one of my friends who had gone and gotten the photo op, and I kind of teased him about it. I was like, "Really, you want to get a photo op with that loser?" WWE champ,
right?
And he was like, "Nah, man, you here. I know you're into comics and stuff like that, and you know Max Landis. I know of Max Landis. I don't know him personally,
right?
You remember how like a couple years ago he did that Superman's Dead video on the Death and Return of Superman by Max Landis. Watch it. It's great. He basically just sits there and narrates the whole saga of the Death and Return of Superman in the comic books, and he has a whole bunch of his friends acting it out while he's narrating it, and it's great. He did the same thing with the life and times of Triple H up to that point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like he was like, watch that. You'll dig it. It'll give you all that you need, to get like a foot in the door in wrestling. So I watched it, and like he was right. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
You just get with the boss's daughter. That's how you work your way to the top.
But no, it's if you haven't checked out that video, I also recommend that. I think it's called Wrestling's Not Wrestling.
Right.
And it's the life of the character Triple H.
Okay.
Up until about 2015, all the way from his inception as Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
That's right.
Or Helmsley. Not that it matters.
It's
Trips. And it's great because half the characters, all of DX, are played by Suicide Girls. So that's fun. And it makes sense with their costumes because DX, has the same style as Suicide Girls.
And if you're not down with that, then I got two words for you.
Woo, suck it. But so I started watching around then. I can't remember how immediate it was. All I remember is that I started watching like the Raw after Kevin Owens beat John Cena for the U.S. title. Like John Cena was doing the U.S. title open challenge.
Yep.
And it was like the Raw after, and they built up to a match at Money in the Bank.
And that was fantastic.
And so Money in the Bank was my first pay-per-view.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That Money in the Bank, where was it Sheamus won the Money in the Bank that year? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
okay.
So Kevin Owens has been kind of my spirit animal because I got to follow his introduction onto the main roster.
Yeah, because he flew through NXT.
Yeah, which is a shame because there was a period of time there where like Kevin Owens was kind of floundering, and I was like, oh, all he does is talk about how he beat John Cena on his first night at Raw. That's kind of boring. Or was it SmackDown? I don't remember whether it was Raw or SmackDown, but it was one of the two.
Right.
But I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's best friends with Chris Jericho? This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then now he's like on, he's back on top. But I will say, I will agree with you, favorite wrestler, at this moment, favorite wrestler of all time, Jericho.
Yeah.
And then current, like, my guy, as much as I love Kevin Owens, my guy right now is Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I mean,
there's something about him. Renee sees it, I see it.
That's cute.
Yeah, and then like anytime you like hear him talking, like just kind of like talking, like whether it's an episode of like Total Divas or like their Table for Three with the Shield reunion,
right?
Like I was like, this guy, he's the same diet as me.
Same thing. Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah,
just is loosey goosey. Just goes.
And he's one of the guys that I'm like, you know what? I believe that's him in real life. Shoot or work, if I may.
I will say, man, but if not for YouTube, I got to go back and check out all the old. This was before the WWE Network, which is for the price fantastic because it made logical sense to me because I was ordering the Rumble, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania.
Right there, if you get the network for 1 year, you're saving money.
Right, exactly.
You're saving like $60 a year.
Plus, you get all the old material, but this was before then. Yeah. I would go back on YouTube. I'd check out all the old matches. I mean, there was so many moments that it was like, wow, this is cool. And that's all it is. It's entertainment. I mean, I was watching the 30 for 30 with Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was great.
Yeah. And he takes offense to when people say it's fake because, it's choreographed. It's predetermined.
Yeah.
But what they do in the ring, I mean, they're really putting their bodies out there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of these moves, I mean, you gotta tip your cap, just like you would tip your cap watching a football game and you see a guy make a great move, or you're watching a soccer match and you see a fantastic through the legs kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing. It's that wow factor, which is really kind of cool, and that's what you go for. You go for that entertainment.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about this form of entertainment is that you get that aggressive nature of two dudes fighting, but then you also get the story, like because like if you look at like something like UFC or something, I'm not going to knock UFC. If you like UFC, that's great. I don't care for it.
Right.
One, because like it's too real for me, and then two, there's not nearly as much pageantry, or at least not as like well scripted pageantry. Because like McGregor. Like I was following that boxing match between McGregor and Mayweather, and I was like, okay, that they're kind of doing the pageantry, but like they're all shooting from the hip, and it's not working. Like Undertaker can do it, John Cena can do it, McGregor not so much.
well, and it's almost like if they had like more of like a personality. And again, I'm not knocking it as well, but it's just the difference between the two. Is just that there's no personality, so there's nothing to really get behind, or there's no underdog story. And with WWE, it's like anything. You have the good versus evil, and you find it in any sport or entertainment. Whether you're watching a movie or whatever, you always have that element of good versus evil. Well, in UFC, you don't really have that unless they make it known. Unless they go up to each other and challenge each other. That's great, but there's no like back and forth. There's no build up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I can definitely tell what you mean for sure.
Yeah. Granted, sometimes they don't have a whole lot of build up in the WWE as well. Like as much as I initially got behind the whole like gender for champ
terrible
thing, like it was like but no, that should have been like 3 months, not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
and then it got way too racist for me.
Yes, especially with the Nakamura stuff back and forth. That was awkward.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that, you look back on it, you're like, oh, wait a second, WWE's promoting the network in India right now.
Yeah.
And they're doing a big tour in India. Drawing the lines together.
Yeah. And I will say, going with what you were saying about like going back on YouTube, I was fortunate because network was fully functional when I started watching, And I was just like, oh, this is great. Like, when I started watching, I had a decent amount of free time because I was only working at the bar.
Right.
So I was like, cool, I'm going to spend this week watching all the pay-per-views for the past, like, year just so I can catch up to where the storyline is now.
Right.
So, like, all of that intimidation that I had 10 years before, gone because it's at my fingertips.
Right.
And it's all on demand.
Yeah.
So kudos to the WWE for getting the network, and NXT is awesome.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and you get to watch the development of those wrestlers in there. I mean, and that's a cool part. Is then when they get called up to the main roster, it's like, keeping that same gimmick and that character build, because you've already seen it, as opposed to what it was before without NXT. They kind of just showed up and it was like, oh, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Well, now at least you have, kind of a backing. You have that foundation already set. So, yeah, NXT is fantastic. Yeah. And, a lot of times, in my opinion, the pay-per-view for NXT is better than the pay-per-view for either Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah. No, I can agree. Like, just because the main roster has, like, a bigger budget doesn't always mean that it's a more entertaining show, because NXT like pulls out the stops, and I feel like that's because part of them, they're like, okay, for some people this is the only time they're going to watch us,
right?
Because they're getting the network so they can watch the pay-per-view, and maybe they're like, oh hey, I'll check out the takeover the night before, and then, or people just don't want to watch weekly, because I get it. Raw's 3 hours long, SmackDown's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Do you really need to watch another hour of NXT? Like, that's one of the main reasons why 205 is floundering right now, because it's just another hour of wrestling, and then, if you're the type of person that also watches like Impact or Ring of Honor,
right? Like,
granted, I will say most of this is going to be WWE centric,
sure, because
that's the easiest to watch,
right?
I do occasionally watch Impact and Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I will too.
So every once in a while we might talk about stuff that's going on there as well.
If there's something of importance.
Yeah.
And New Japan. Because there's a big match coming up between Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, which I thought would never happen.
No. I am definitely going to at least subscribe to their network for that month.
I'm hoping it's like WWE, where you get like one free month, and then we get like Jones in for just that month, and then be like, oh.
Supposedly, I've heard rumors, and my source of rumors is worse than most people's source of, like, because I don't really care for rumors,
right?
Like I much rather would just watch the product,
of course,
and see what's going on,
right?
But I have heard rumblings that Chris Jericho is trying to talk to Vince about getting that pay-per-view on the network.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So like, if they can do that, then awesome. If not, like, I'll pay it. It's only like $9, $10 US. Right. For a month.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Like, so, like, even if it's not a free month, I'll
worth
shell
it
out
for
$10.
Right, for 1 month.
Yeah, that's better than paying to fly to Japan, get a ticket, and see the show live.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Especially since I don't know Japanese.
No. Do they do the streamers thing over there? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure they do.
Yeah. Jericho, it was funny, in one of his books, he talked about, wrestling over there. Mm-hmm. In his first couple matches, there was silence throughout the whole match.
They're a very quiet crowd.
Right. And he thought he was doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know how I would be able to be at that match and be like, oh, no, we're quiet. Got it. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Apparently they like, when they were over here earlier this year, I think, they were doing those shows in like LA,
right?
For like 1 week or whatever. They like made an announcement before the show. They were like, okay, guys, for, like, this is a different product than the WWE or whatever. We are respectful,
right?
We don't chant, we don't, we clap,
right?
And that's it.
And it's like a golf clap too. It's not hooting and hollering.
I checked out, because you can watch like last year's New Japan Wrestling on one of the channels here.
Yeah.
And I watched that for a little while, and it was weird seeing AJ Styles on New Japan and on WWE simultaneously, because he had a very short gap, and and like I said, the New Japan stuff was last year's New Japan stuff.
Yep.
So like, but it was very weird. I was like, why are they so quiet?
Yeah.
Like, there's a give and take to that, because sometimes I hate the fucking fans, and their stupid chants.
Oh yeah.
But like, awful. I also like, I couldn't imagine performing for a silent crowd.
Well, and some of it is like you hear the chants and
Yeah.
you're like, what are they saying?
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, this is awesome stuff. It's cool because you're feeling it at home.
Yeah.
You're like, this is cool. But a cool segue of the AJ Styles.
Yeah.
You told me your favorite wrestler right now.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is my favorite wrestler
Very
right
nice.
now. I mean, he is.
I can get behind that.
He is fantastic.
Mhm.
You know,
Current,
I
current
kind of
world champion.
it is, yeah, and I couldn't be more excited about tonight
Yeah.
to see him going up against Lesnar.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic matchup. And we'll get into that when we preview our matches. But
Yeah.
you know, and I kind of flip flop. You know, well, not flip flop, but I go from like person to person over a period of time. And so, like, you know, I started doing that with, like, Jeff Hardy, and then I'd go to someone else. But, like, I went to CM Punk, and I was really big into CM Punk. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserved for a lot of the work that he did, especially with the Straight Edge Society. You should look that up sometime.
I've the little bit that I've been exposed to that, I'm like, oh, that looks very entertaining. Oh, Kevin Owens is on the pre-show.
This is interesting
And
with
there's
Sami Zayn.
Oh, is there like a tag match or something?
No.
This is what you get by for listening to us while we're live watching the pre-show.
Heck yeah, because I didn't think they were supposed to come. I thought they were off the show.
Well, but that's probably why they changed it to a 2-hour long pre-show, because I think originally it was just an hour long pre-show, and now it's 2 hours because they have more than just the one cruiserweight match.
Yeah. Because
I love the new Sammy, like, just tweak of his entrance.
They needed something.
Yeah.
But I even in my notes in preparation, I had a sad face next to no Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Oh, they're talking. Should we pause and listen to?
I think we should. Hey, we'll be right back.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Kevin and Sammy brought it, and they're now having a match with the Fashion Police, Breezango.
Yes.
One of my favorite tag teams right now, and I'm so happy to see them in the ring, throwing out their violations. So with that, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with our backstories and
the intro? No, I think we covered it.
Okay, then let's start talking about our predictions.
Yes.
For this wonderful match.
Yes.
Let me open up on my iPad and on your Fire.
Ooh. You know what I was thinking is at some point, when we get big enough, when this grows, we should get a belt.
I was thinking.
I see that right there.
That's a belt that I haven't used in quite some time, and I was thinking of donating it to our cause.
Right. We'll call it the GCW belt.
Yeah,
right.
Like
it looks pretty fitting too.
Yeah, right. I'll just slap the logo on it.
Yes.
But yeah, a while ago I had tried to talk a couple friends into just basically doing just doing a prediction league.
Sure.
And like I called it the Mark Prediction, because I wanted it to be like you make your predictions based solely on what you want to happen, like as a mark. Step away from knowing the business.
As a fan.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody got it, and I only got to do it for this past WrestleMania.
Well, count me in.
Sweet. I know about the time that the Rumble's coming around. I have another friend that was talking to me about joining us.
Oh, really?
But he works retail, so he cannot take a night off during these months.
Of course. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so real quick, let's go over the takeover. That was amazing.
Yeah.
What matches did we have on that? Sanity. That's the main event. We'll get to
War Games.
Well,
we had the women's Fatal 4-Way.
Yes,
which was a total crapshoot because I did not think there was nobody that was like, oh, this person's gonna get the push to win. I mean, in my opinion, Ember Moon. It was like. This was like one of her last chances, or she was going to get buried, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so.
No, I totally understand them going with Ember Moon because they had put so much behind her, but at the same time they were like, but we can't have Asuka get beaten,
right? Of course.
So like I get it. Personally, I was pushing for Peyton Royce, but that's just because I love her.
Yeah.
But I feel like any of them, I wouldn't have been mad.
No.
At most. Like, I would have been like, really? You're going with Kairi Sane just because she was, like, the Mae Young winner had she won. But I still would have been like, but I get it. I mean, she did win the Mae Young. She beat Shayna Baszler.
Of course.
Baszler? Yeah. The L is later in her name.
Pan.
Cassius Ohno versus Lars Sullivan.
It was okay for me.
It was, in my opinion, worst match of the night.
Yeah.
Mostly because I cannot stand Cassius Ohno.
And they're pushing him.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Because they brought him back.
Yeah.
And there's a reason to bring him back.
Yeah. I saw him perform as Chris Hero a couple months before he came back. Did not care for him then.
No, I don't get it.
Yeah. Like I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want it to be like body shaming, but part of it is because he just looks like a fat dope. The other part is like I find him to be completely uncharismatic.
The same guy that loves Kevin Owens.
Yes,
is commenting on
that's how you know it's
dope.
not just body shaming.
Got it.
Although to be fair, Kevin Owens doesn't look like a fat dope. He just looks like a dad bod.
Yeah. Well, he has to wear the skinny shirt underneath. Yeah.
But like speaking of clothing, also the fucking shitty basketball jersey thing that Cassius Ohno is doing.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah. It's dumb.
I don't like him. Anyone that does like him, please explain to me why in a sane manner. Like I won't yell at you for liking him. So please don't yell at me for hating him, but like please explain to me why he is worth cheering for.
Makes no sense.
Lars Sullivan, I like the kid. Still don't know too much about him because he's still pretty new to NXT.
Yeah.
He does look like one of the other bouncers that no longer works at my bar, but like worked there for a little while. And like every time Lars Sullivan is on, I'll like snap a picture and send it to Gino and be like, "Hey, you're wrestling again." And like there was a gif of him doing some crazy suplex thing. I forget exactly what it was, but it was very impressive because fat dope Cassius Ohno like being tossed up into the air like that. I was like, damn, Gino, you are unrelenting. And he was like, yeah, I can do that.
I'm just gonna go with fat dope every time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then for me, and we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I think for you as well. Match of the night: Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream.
Fantastic. Local guy.
Yes, Velveteen Dream from is he hailed as from DC?
Yep.
Okay, because I think he's from Maryland more specifically, but like whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean it's close enough.
Yeah.
But he did Maryland Championship Wrestling,
and I'm pretty sure I did see him a couple times before he got called, or before he got the before he got hired at NXT, probably after his tryout.
Well, and he was, and
speaking of that, I also have seen Leo Rush live because he was a mainstay at MCW as well.
He needs to work on his Twitter account.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Who was it? I think it was Dan Barry, who's an indie wrestler, who's great. If you get a chance to see him, check him out. I'm pretty sure it was Dan Barry.
Okay.
He tweeted out shortly after that. He was like, "Man, what is it with guys getting hired to NXT and forgetting how to Twitter?" And then Donovan Dijak, who is amazing, and I'm so happy that he got hired for NXT. Mm-hmm. Hasn't made his TV debut yet, but like I've seen him posting about being on like house shows and stuff like that.
Right.
He is also great. Did a lot at Nova Pro Wrestling over here. He was like, "Hey man, I'm okay."
Nice.
So it made me giggle. But yeah,
nice.
So fucking phenomenal. Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream.
Yep.
Like I already was all in on both of them.
Yep.
Like that was one of those matches. Like for the women's 4-way, it was leaning more towards indifference to whomever wins.
Right.
This one was like, I love these guys so much. I want both of them to win.
Yeah. just say his name, please.
Yeah,
just say his name.
I don't know how to finish this match without half of me crying because he didn't win. But like oh my god, both of them, stellar performance. Like Velveteen Dream, spoilers, lost the match. Oh, we haven't really talked. We talked about who got the women's title.
Right.
Lars Sullivan beat Cassius Ohno, which that's good.
Yeah.
But so Aleister Black beats Velveteen Dream,
right,
and does it in such a way that you're just like fucking both these guys. Like I'm amazed that like we weren't hearing both these guys chants throughout the auditorium, the stadium, whatever it is, because it was an amazing match from both of them. That was a really good Hurricane Rana from Fandango.
It was really good.
But can we talk about how like that's such a weird way to break up a pin? in like tag matches where someone just rolls up and hits the other dude on the back. I'm like but
that's
he's still pinned.
Right.
like I understand it when like someone comes by and like shoves you off. Great. Because the person is no longer covering the other person. Presumably the person on the bottom, the shoulders aren't up. But like when you just run over and smack someone on the back, they're still pinned.
Right. It's going to be enough for me to lift my arm and be like, "Hey man, what are you doing?"
It's one of the things that's bothered me so much in like all tag matches.
Oh,
Nice pop-up powerbomb to win. Sorry,
Right.
Fandango. Thanks for coming.
Right.
I mean, that's fine. As we both said, we both love Breezango, but like Kevin and Sammy, like how are you gonna put them?
Wow.
How would you have them lose to Breezango?
Yeah, you can't unless you're going to completely bury them.
Yeah,
and you can't do that at this point. They're too talented for that.
Yeah, or if like that was the start of a big feud where it was a fluke win.
Yeah.
But
they're going to be the tag champs at some point.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. All right, and then there was another one.
Well, we had right.
Yeah, the NXT title match, Almas versus McIntyre.
Yep.
So I went into this liking both guys, and then for some reason, by the start of the match, I was like, I don't really care for Drew McIntyre anymore,
and I don't care for Almas.
Yeah.
Almas
has spent the entire last year trying to prove himself to the NXT universe. It seems that the majority of the universe, or at least the San Antonio people,
right.
or were they in Houston last night? The people that they were performing in front of, they've finally gotten behind Almas.
I guess
I liked Almas. I liked Almas since day one, but I didn't really care for the whole party boy character that they were giving him.
Right.
Like I spent the entire time like going like, why don't people like this guy? He's a really good luchador style. I wish they had kept his mask because his mask was pretty fucking badass.
It was.
But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I feel like he's just kind of like a fill-in champion for now until. They feel like Roderick Strong or or Adam Cole is ready because I think those are the next two that are kind of jumping up.
Speaking of Roderick Strong, I cannot stand Roderick Strong.
Really?
Yeah, I do not like him.
Oh, see, I'm of the opposite opinion here.
Trailer Park Boy Roderick Strong, because that's the only thing they've ever given me as as his character. He grew up in a trailer park. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah,
tell me how you really feel. I mean, jeez,
he just doesn't do anything for me. When he was going up, I think mostly it's because like he was like before Bobby Roode got called up to the main roster, he was going up against Bobby Roode, and to me, like, Bobby Roode's like the greatest. I loved Bobby Roode so much.
He's glorious.
And, so no matter what, like anyone's gonna like probably pale in comparison, and Roderick Strong just happened to be not charismatic enough for me.
Oh, well, then that's okay.
Yeah. And
so McIntyre ends up losing.
Yes.
Right? And I think he gets hurt because at the end of the match, I don't know if you saw, but he was like grabbing his arm. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't know if that was selling or if it was legit.
But I don't know. Does McIntyre come up to the main roster at this point, or do you keep him in NXT?
I don't think he's been at NXT long enough. I mean, we saw what happened to.
I mean, Kevin Owens is the only one that's fast tracked.
Yeah. We saw what happened to. What's his name? This is a prime example.
This is really good. It's fantastic.
He's the first member of Titus Brand worldwide.
Oh yeah,
had the standing moonsault.
Yes.
Oh my God! Why can I not remember his name?
Totally flat.
Yeah.
Totally flat.
Yeah. I legitimately feel bad because I was excited for him when he first got introduced. His first match at TakeOver Brooklyn 1 was amazing.
It was very good.
But yeah, then out of nowhere, he's on the main roster and floundering.
Yeah, terrible. And you get stuck with Titus O'Neil, and it's downhill.
To be fair, the stuff with Titus Worldwide has been like kind of the best stuff for him since he got called up to the main roster. Because he's actually getting matches. Like there was like a 6-month period where he wasn't on TV. Now he's on TV like every other, like third week or something like that.
But he's still falling down.
Yeah, no,
which is unfortunate.
He is mid Carter at best. Which some people do well in that. Like what's his name? Kurt Hawkins. Kurt Hawkins is a great jobber and mid Carter. Like I love Kurt Hawkins. I want that streak, like the losing streak shirt that he put up on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I want to have that shirt for realsies. Too bad it wasn't a real shirt.
And the person you're thinking about is Apollo Crews.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fucking Apollo Crews.
Yes.
Sorry, Apollo Crews. You deserve better.
Well, I was trying to lead you on and see how long it would take you. But I was hoping you'd figure it out.
No, I had nothing. At best, I was like, all I know is that it's not Cedric Alexander.
No.
Who's
got a funky intro, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I love Cedric. I've seen Cedric Alexander live as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was at. I saw his last Nova Pro show. I don't know if it was his last indie show, but I saw his last Nova Pro show in the middle of the Cruiserweight Classics.
Yeah. But still 205 struggling even with that.
Yeah. All right. And then finally,
the War Games match.
The War Games.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Wow.
I had never seen a War Games match.
Me neither.
I haven't. I have all of WCW at my fingertips on the network, and I never went back and checked it out. All I did know is that, hey, that cage is supposed to have a roof.
Yeah. Yes.
And those were pretty confusing rules, but I was like, oh, it's probably like so they said like every 2 minutes or whatever, you're in, an entire team.
It's like the Elimination Chamber, but with a team as opposed to individuals.
Yeah, apparently in the originals it was like one member every 2 minutes.
Right.
But I think they didn't want to give an NXT match that much time.
No. But I thought it was great.
Yeah.
A lot of great spots.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. And of course, two of my favorite guys in it, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
They looked really good.
I do like Adam Cole. I almost said Roderick Strong.
Gotcha.
I do like Adam Cole.
But
he's a good guy.
Killian Dane.
Yeah.
He's a name to remember.
Beast.
A name to remember, because I think he's one of those ones, like a Braun Strowman, that will come up to the main roster, and you're like, whoa, who's this guy? Where did he come from? Braun Strowman was in the Fun Bunch with Adam Rose, so we really didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
But this one, at
Becky
least
Lynch was also there.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a damn good match for a match that I had never seen before.
Yeah.
Poor Alexander Wolf, his head exploded during that match.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone looked strong. There was that nice shot of Adam Cole sitting in between both rings while Tower of Doom simultaneously on both sides happened. And I was like, that's well done shot. Good job, cameraman.
Yeah. And let's see it from 3 different angles.
Yeah.
No, it was well done. And again, so, War Games, I think overall was very good.
Yes. Survivor Series has a lot to live up to.
They do, but I think they have some good matches.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be struggling.
I hope not.
Speaking of which, let's talk about our predictions.
We should. What do you want to start with?
You know what? Let's just do it in the order that you have it written here.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to make it easier so we don't lose our place.
All right. We'll start with the fun one, the champion versus champion match.
Probably not the main event, right?
Or do you think the 5-on-5? Well, the 5-on-5 might be the main event. But anyway.
It is Brock Lesnar.
This is going to be my main event.
Yeah.
Because it's got
the main event in your hearts.
Right, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I think this one is going to be a lot better than having Jinder Mahal against Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw SmackDown last week, but how great was the intro by Daniel Bryan as the Advocate?
That was wonderful.
Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, I give Daniel Bryan a lot of credit. He's a guy that I don't know if he's going to come back into wrestling. Supposedly he's been cleared.
He's been cleared by everyone except for WWE doctors.
Right.
That's something that you listen to any wrestling podcast, they're going to talk about that.
Of course, yeah. So we won't get into that. We want to be different. I think there's more to lose if Lesnar loses.
Yeah.
So I think Lesnar, they're going to try to build him up as this big strength going into. I think he'll keep the belt to WrestleMania, and then the big dog, unfortunately, will take him out. But it'll make him look. It'll make Roman Reigns look even stronger. Mm-hmm. So I think, unfortunately, I'd love to see AJ Styles win. I'm going to go with Lesnar tonight.
Yeah. And on a similar note, I think the upset would have been huge if Jinder had won this match.
Right.
Whereas now you're like, oh shit, it legit could go either way.
It could.
I could see them believably. I don't know about a clean pin from AJ onto Brock, but I could see some shenanigans going down.
Sure.
And people being like, "That was a good match,"
Right.
But any sort of win from Jinder over Brock would have been fuck this match. Whereas either way, you're looking at Brock, you're like, I could see him winning, no matter what. Similarly, I would love AJ to win. I will not keep it a secret. I don't really like Brock Lesnar. He does nothing for me. Yeah,
I'm indifferent. I mean, he sells tickets.
Sure,
that's about it.
Yeah, but I love me some AJ. I would love to see him win, but I think there's plenty of things that you could do with either of them, regardless of who wins.
But both.
I'm hedging my bets on Brock tonight.
Okay, we're on the same page there. I do think that both of these champions, though, keep their belts until WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and I think that's well deserved.
Yeah,
I hope it sets up some really good WrestleMania matches, like a Nakamura against AJ Styles. Because they have to go up against what New Japan's doing with the Omega versus Jericho and all the hype it's getting. You're going to have to come up with something big. So anyway, let's move on to the men's 5-on-5.
Yes.
You want to go first since I went first on the first one?
Sure. So this so Survivor Series to me is always, the three that I've seen, it always seems like kind of like a hodge, like just kind of thrown together.
Right.
And I really wish that there was a little bit more thought put into it. Like I want to say the match where when Sting made his appearance, that Survivor Series, that felt like it had a lot riding on the line. Granted, I wasn't watching, so I was just watching the video packages to see what the point was. But like the whole the Authority, you're fired, and they've thrown that in, but I feel like they threw that in with the Kurt Angle being fired if they lose kind of the last minute.
Right.
Although I would not be surprised if some shenanigans went down between Kurt Angle and Triple H, and that is what causes Team SmackDown to win, and Kurt Angle gets fired from being general manager and then comes in and it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm wrestling now, and at WrestleMania it's going to be you and me, Trips.
Yep. And that's right on par with that. I agree 100%.
So that's I would not be surprised if that happened. I think I'm going to go with Team SmackDown to win that one.
I'm going to go off of favorites, so I'm going to go off of Mark.
Go for it.
I'm a big fan of SmackDown.
Yeah.
SmackDown's roster, I think,
also
and
just in
SmackDown's
general
show.
as well. Like I'm a big fan of I'm marking to this as well. I do want to try to hold true to the tradition of the Mark Prediction Championship belt.
As much as I want to lean towards Raw, I think it's going to be SmackDown. I'm a big fan of...
Strowman is going to be a tough cookie to crack.
He is, but, in the same sense, it's like he was a tough cookie when, at the last pay-per-view when it was, he had The Miz and Kane and blah, blah, blah. And at any point, one of them can come in, Kane can come in and, eliminate that from happening. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to side with you on this one. I'm going to go with SmackDown.
Eventually, we'll make this interesting and disagree on something, I'm sure.
I would hope so. Either that or...
Wouldn't that just be boring?
I know, right? They're like, oh, check out our first podcast. We agreed on everything.
And we were wrong on everything.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we share the belt. We took it home together.
Yeah. I'm the defending champion, so on a split decision like that, I get to keep it.
The reigning, defending, undisputed.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. So we're in agreement on the first two. Let's move to the women's.
Yeah.
Let's move to the women's. And in my opinion, this women's match is one-sided. It is all Raw all the way. They've got way too much talent. I would have thought that they would have brought in, Paige or Bella or somebody.
I do feel like originally it was the plan to bring in Paige, because she teased about being at Raw last week,
right? And
then because she posted that, I can't believe they're keeping that half Shield, half Raw shirt. God damn it!
Another squirrel moment.
Yeah, but yeah, I think she was originally supposed to be the fifth member of Team Raw,
right?
And then she tweeted out that thing being my captain, and they're like, well, we can't have it be predictable,
right? Exactly. How dare she?
Yeah. So then everyone predicted that she was going to be the fifth SmackDown woman, and then they announced via Twitter that Natalya was going to be the fifth member after she lost the title to Charlotte.
Right. Well, and she broke up with Del Rio too, so
Yes.
she's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to come back. I'm not with him anymore."
Guys, I'm not hanging out with guys from TNA anymore.
Right. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Raw. And unfortunately, my boy Ellsworth has been fired, so he will not be involved in this match.
Good.
But
not
yes.
my boy.
But yes, I'm going with Raw women.
Unfortunately, I am agreeing with you on this one
come
again.
on.
Yep. So Brock, SmackDown, and Raw, we're both in agreement so far.
All right, moving on to the Raw Tag Team Champions versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Yes. Sheamus and Cesaro, The Bar, versus the Usos. So last minute we got Sheamus and Cesaro taking over for the Shield, the reunited Shield. Why do you think that was? Do you think it was because Roman Reigns is like, "Hey guys, I'm better. I don't have the mumps anymore. We can do a thing at Survivor Series."
I don't know.
I feel like that might have been it, and they were like, "Oh well, hey, we have another trio, on the other brand that doesn't have a match either. We could pit them against each other."
I think they're just trying to set it up again to have, so Roman Reigns has some back, and he can, without a belt, but he still has his two buddies to help get him to WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, so, Sheamus and Cesaro, I like them together. They're fun. The Usos, ever since they turned heel, have gotten so good, especially on the mic. They have that beautiful twin, telepathy.
I think they're boring.
Really?
100%. Awful.
Well, then we might disagree on this match because I'm going Team Usos.
Oh, I'm going with the Bar.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going the Bar.
There we go. That could be the thing that that changes it for us. I find the Usos to be very fun. I love them whenever they back when Talking Smack was a thing.
That was fantastic. Why they did away with that, I have no idea.
Because Vince finally watched an episode.
Oh, my God.
I'm not scripting these.
It was great.
What in the world happened to my feed? Oh, there we go. Someone put it. Someone forgot to put it in full screen. So I don't know. I find them to be entertaining. I love them whenever they talk with Daniel Bryan and get him. And Daniel Bryan plays like dorky dad.
He does.
To them.
He does.
But yeah, so...
All right, good. So we finally have something we differ on.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're going Bar, I'm going Usos.
Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. We've got Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair.
When this one was Alexa Bliss versus Natty, it was so much easier for me to choose...
Oh, for sure.
Who I wanted to win.
Right. Alexa Bliss all the way.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Straight up, Alexa, my future ex-wife, Alexa Bliss.
Oh, so beautiful.
And so good at just everything she does in and out of the ring. It was a little bit harder after Charlotte beat Natty on SmackDown, because Charlotte is just a fucking workhorse. She's a stallion in the ring, and I could totally believe her just being able to overpower Alexa Bliss.
Sure.
But I also believe Alexa Bliss being able to outsmart her or out-heal her, and have some shenanigans, as I like to say.
There you go.
So I'm still ultimately going Bliss.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Charlotte's going to pull a page from her dad, and she's going to come up with something. Mm-hmm. She's the hot hand right now. Mm-hmm. Everything's coming up Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's going to be her, I think, that takes it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. There we go. 2 matches.
All right, finally. All right, Intercontinental Champion versus the U.S. Champion.
I love The Miz.
Me too.
As I said when you first got here, who would have thought back when he was on The Real World
right,
that he would be one of the best things in wrestling right now?
When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut.
He is so hot right now.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's great on the microphone.
Yes.
I mean, it just a great personality. I thought it was great when he wasn't featured in SummerSlam and he came out and was like, "This is good." And that's fantastic. That's the thing.
The arena was half empty.
Right, and that's the thing I liked about CM Punk. It's like, just tell it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan was the same way. Just tell it how it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic on the microphone.
Yeah, when they get the right wrestler, to be able to do that, it's firing on all cylinders.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think we're both in agreement that Miz
I think we're going both. We're both going Miz here.
Yeah, a part of me feels terrible that they're going to give it to Corbin and like pull out some bullshit finish to it.
Probably.
To just be like, hey, look, guys, Corbin won. But in the spirit of the Mark predictions, I'm going to stick with who I wants to win, and that is The Miz.
I want The Miz to win as well. I'm right there with you.
And then the Shield versus the New Day, because we're going to just gloss over the Cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, exactly.
Mostly because we already watched it happen.
Well, and here's the thing about the Cruiserweight champion. I mean, Enzo Amore, we weren't surprised that he won, right? No. Because I think he's kind of, one of those
Dolph
that
Ziggler's sign.
We need somebody to beat him to take over. And I think we need an Itami. I think we need somebody.
Supposedly Hitami is getting called up to the 205 roster.
I hope so. They need somebody to really, I mean, come on, how great would Johnny G be? Bring him up. He would be fantastic.
Johnny G.
You need somebody that people can get behind it and make people want to watch.
Yeah.
Because right now nobody wants to watch. It's like NXT.
Yeah.
But NXT's got people, so people actually want to watch NXT because you got the personalities. But 205, it's boring.
Yeah.
Granted, in the ring, they're fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of great talent, but outside the ring, they're boring. There's nothing.
I will say, though, like the Cruiserweight Classics was more entertaining in terms of their in-ring stuff than what I have seen on 205, because I feel like they've been told to dial it back a bit.
I think so,
on
too.
205,
yeah.
Because the Cruiserweight Classics felt like going to an indie wrestling show where they're just like, they're allowed to do whatever they want within certain limits. Like at Nova Pro, you're not allowed to draw blood,
right?
Because that's part of the Virginia Wrestling Association. Whatever, you can't do blood. But other than that, you can do whatever the fuck you want, pretty much.
Hell yeah.
And so it becomes really cool. And the Cruiserweight Classics was just like that.
Yeah.
But now that they're on 205 Live, it's basically just a WWE product with small guys.
It is. And with no creativity behind it.
All right, we need to go real quick because now the New Day versus the Shield is about to start.
Their intro takes a little while, so we're good.
It's going to be 10 minutes before the Shield even comes out.
Exactly.
But so Shield is back.
They are.
And granted, like I said earlier, I missed the Shield because I wasn't watching shits back then. But one of the first things I latched onto was the feud that Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins were having that led up to Hell in a Cell.
Right. And
that was amazing. And I've loved Seth and Dean ever since.
Yeah.
I think they are masters of their craft.
They're fantastic.
And Roman kind of needs them. Like, I don't hate Roman. I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, Roman sucks.
Right.
But Roman, I feel Roman works best as someone else's, what's the word? Someone else's beefcake.
There you go, yes.
I was like, he'd make a great bodyguard for someone.
Right. Like this show. Like, that's your role for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're like, you keep it on.
Yeah, I'm Brodus Clay to your Eli Drake.
There you go.
That's a reference to TNA. Even though I don't think he's Brodus Clay on.
No, it's Tyrus.
Tyrese, yeah.
Tyrus,
Yeah.
There you go. He's not a Funkasaurus.
Nope. All right, well, so
I'm going Shield.
Yeah?
Yeah, I am. I like the Shield. I think, and even going back, giving you a history lesson, the Shield, when they first came out, it was fantastic because it didn't matter who you were. They came to take you out.
Yeah.
And what it reminded me of was when Nexus first came out a while back before that. Mm-hmm. That was fun to watch as well. But anyway.
And this is the pay-per-view that they debuted at.
It is.
5 years ago?
Give or take.
Something like that?
Yeah. I won't hold you to it.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Thanks.
But I'm going Shield. I'm a fan of them. Although I do love the Unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the New Day.
Oh, there's the New Day is one of the most entertaining groups in the ring. Some of the most just period entertaining performers on the show.
Which, in my opinion, it was out of nowhere. Because when they first came out, I was like, who are these?
I remember, I forget which pay-per-view it was, but I remember the shift where like it was like a year-long like New Day sucks.
Right.
New Day sucks.
Right.
And then just like there was like a pay-per-view or like a week of wrestling where like I started going, I respect the New Day like in the ring. Like they're really good, and then like slowly started to hear New Day Rocks.
Right.
New
Yeah.
Day Rocks. And then that one pay-per-view, whatever it was, I was listening to a podcast that like they remembered which one it was. I think it was one of the fall pay-per-views like last year or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it just like it switched.
Yeah.
And it was basically their face turn was what did it, or at least that caused them to have their face turn.
Well, when they started embracing the negativity, that's when it really worked for them. And I think Xavier Woods, he's the reason why that whole thing turned around.
So good.
Yeah. So anyway,
I too am going the Shield.
So we have two differences tonight,
yes,
which is fantastic, and that will be the Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Women's Champion.
Yes.
You go Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
Beautiful. I'm going Charlotte, and then the tag teams, I'm going with the Bar. And you're going with the Usos.
Yes.
So everything else is the same.
Yeah.
This was fun, man.
Yeah. Pay attention to those matches to know which one of us won, and we'll be back. We're gonna keep this as one big ass episode.
Why not?
So we'll be back. For us, it's gonna be a couple hours. For you, it's gonna be a couple seconds to talk about our reactions to Survivor Series. Stick with us. All right, well, we just finished the pay-per-view.
Yes, we did. Little anticlimactic at the end. I mean, unless you're a big Braun Strowman mark.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool, seeing him do the running powerbomb, or the running...
It's like a jogging slam.
Yeah. I guess it's not a powerbomb. We just heard Michael Cole say it like 5 times, and I've already forgotten what it's called.
Well, you got Kevin Owens on your mind.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's talk about it. It was Survivor Series.
It was
2017.
Yeah.
Just in case you're listening to this in the future.
In the year 3000.
So I say let's try to keep it in order as best we can.
Yep.
Because I'm sure I'll forget exactly what order everything came in. But I do remember we started with the Shield versus the New Day, and that was one hell of an opening match. Tore the roof off, if I may. Like I was a big fan of that match.
Yeah, I mean it definitely lived up to its billing, even though it was a short-lived kind of build-up.
1 week build.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty good. I mean, the Shield looked strong, like we figured they would. But New Day, they came in with some moves. It was pretty cool.
That fucking thing where Xavier Woods like squat lifted Big E. My God.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. Boyd does his squats.
Yeah.
That was just amazing. Lots of good shit in it.
Yeah, and we were right on point.
Yep.
We both thought the Shield would win. Mm-hmm. We were right there on it.
Mm-hmm. We got it.
Yes, 1 for 1.
What came next?
Was it the Intercontinental?
No, because we
Oh, this is bad.
Yeah, right. It was the women's Survivor.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Elimination. Yeah.
Good call.
It was all right. We just watched it, and I don't really recall it too well.
The surprising part was that first off, they got rid of
Becky Lynch right away.
Lynch, yeah,
that shook me.
Well, it was like SmackDown's best player was gone right away.
Yeah.
But then, SmackDown held their own, surprisingly, and so it came down to Asuka, and that's exactly how I thought it would go, that they would lean on Asuka to bring it home. But with all the talent on Raw, I was kind of surprised that it, kind of came down to that. But, props. It was a decent match. I mean, there was nothing about it that was a lot of, oh my gosh moments, it was just kind of, your typical run-of-the-mill. I mean, Asuka cleaned up the mess after it was all done.
I mean, you know what it proved? That no one's ready for Asuka.
I don't think so.
No,
she is top.
But, I mean, so good on Asuka, good on Team Raw. Chalk that up to another win for both of us.
Yes, we were 2 for 2 at that point. Feeling pretty good, actually.
And I think that's where Miz versus Corbin came in.
Yeah.
It was a match.
Well, I mean, Corbin was impressive. I just thought Miz would do better than what he did.
Yeah.
But I felt like there was not much offense with Miz. Corbin definitely kind of owned the show for that perspective. But, you know, I mean, yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I believe you can rewind this episode and hear me say I would not be surprised if they gave it to him.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to win.
Yeah.
Which is what happened.
Uh-huh.
Which means we are now 2-1.
Damn it. Well played. Well played. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. Yeah, that's cool.
And then the tag matches?
No, I got my revenge because Charlotte went up against
No,
Alexa.
It was tag match first.
Was it really?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. We can talk about it. Do you want to talk about it?
No. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I just thought we went back to back, but I think you were right. I think we did go tag match.
Yeah. So the Usos versus The Bar.
And this was the first one that we were opposites.
Yes.
So he went Uso side.
Mm-hmm.
I went with The Bar. This one was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah. It was. As much as I like the Usos and I enjoy The Bar, I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. It was a very good match.
It was a good match. Yeah, and a lot of near falls. There was actually one where
we were both on the edge of our seat.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Several times, in fact.
Yeah,
on both sides. You know, you being like, "Yes, I'm about to win," and me being like, "No, I'm about to win."
Yeah. Gosh, I thought I had you. I definitely did.
There were a couple times where I thought you had me too. Ultimately, the Usos took it.
That's a dagger. So I was struggling at this point, so I needed something to get me back.
Yeah.
And
which
Queen Charlotte came through for me.
Yep.
And that match was pretty good. I think it was kind of predictable. We, at least from my perspective, it was because I knew that Charlotte was going to win, and I even called that the figure eight would be I at the end. I was just waiting for it to come. And
I even called like the sequence that led to it.
Yeah.
I was like, Alexa was going up for her Twisted Bliss, and I was like, oh, they're going to find some way to reverse this into the figure 4, into the 8, and that's how it's going to end. And it wasn't an immediate reversal.
No,
but it essentially that was the thing that kickstarted the move transition. And I gotta hand it to Charlotte. She brought it. She whooped it. It was a good match. I love seeing Alexa jump around and do all of her moveset.
Who doesn't?
Charlotte's a great performer too. Like, it was a damn good match, but from both of them.
Right, and I got to give the props to the camera angles on a lot of that. I mean,
you fucking perv.
Yeah, I know, right? Right, I'm the perv here. Yeah, right, got it.
You're the one thanking the cameraman.
I know. Well, hey, the next match, in my opinion, was the match of the night. Because overall, I think it was pretty average from a show perspective. But the AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar.
That fucking... I was amazed.
Unbelievable.
At how good of a match that was. Like, I think I mentioned it. I definitely mentioned it off mic. I probably mentioned it on mic. I don't really care for Brock Lesnar that much.
Right.
He's a sprinter, not a runner, not a marathoner.
That's true.
And I like a good match that goes the distance.
Well, he sells tickets, and that's a big thing. I mean, he's a big name on a card. They can bring him in, and he's a dominant force.
Yeah. But and this match, they fooled us. They fooled us because for the first 5 minutes, it looked like it was just going to be a typical, Lesnar squash match.
Right.
AJ was barely putting up a fight. He's just getting thrown around.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, fucking turned into an AJ Styles match.
Unbelievable.
Where somehow AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar were evenly matched.
And honestly, I looked over at you at one point and was like, I should have taken AJ Styles because this is amazing.
Both of us had that moment where we were like, AJ Styles might win this.
Yeah. And
especially that calf crusher. I was like, Brock, if you don't start smashing his head into the canvas, I'm going to think less of you.
Right, exactly.
And then he did, and I was like, okay, good, because that's how you should counter that move.
Right. I mean, you're the bigger guy.
Especially you.
Right. The dominant force.
Yeah.
But I tell you, hats off to AJ Styles. That guy
Yes.
is a fantastic performer.
Oh my God,
Unbelievable, and definitely the match of the night in my opinion. Everything else, I mean, if you didn't watch it and you're going to catch it on the network later, just fast forward through some of these and just go to that match. Just start with that match.
I will say New Day and the Shield. Also, one that you need to watch.
I'll give you that. Yeah, for sure.
But I can understand your reasoning for giving that match of the night.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I won't argue against you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks. Great. So at this point, I mean, there's no chance that I could win the belt for the night, right? Of course.
Yeah.
And we weren't changing.
We were tied up, and we both had Team SmackDown for the final match. So no matter what, we were going to be tied. And I think I'm going to wait, so I have a physical cardboard belt, and I think I'm going to wait until we have a definitive winner to actually bring the belt into the mix.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's just vacant, and we're waiting for a no DQ, definitive winner.
Yeah.
To get it. That's how I'm going to see it in my eye.
And that's how we should do it.
Yeah.
And eventually, when this starts taking off, because I know it will, because, I mean, come
wrestling.
on. Two of us together
Right?
being amazing.
The kings of charisma.
Ooh, I like the way this is going. I think we'll upgrade the belt at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least throw some glitter on it.
And put our logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now it's foam letters saying Mark Predictions World Champion.
Right. We took it from an elementary school. It's really weird. But don't ask. It's okay. We'll digress.
It was a really weird children's school.
But I tell you, the last match, I mean, it came down to this, for the show, the Survivor Series.
Yeah.
It was a tie. So it came down to the 5-on-5 men's match. And again, in my opinion, SmackDown had the most talent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you have Shin as the nickname we found out tonight.
Apparently, Michael Cole refers to Shinsuke Nakamura as merely Shin.
Yeah. Bobby Roode.
Mm-hmm. Booby Roode if you're at what culture.
Right. Randy Orton, I mean, say what you want about him, but, I mean, the guy's got the titles to back it up. Good in-ring. You're not a big fan, I know.
I am indifferent at best about Randolph Orton.
Right. But Shane McMahon, that's your biggest weakness.
Right?
And it turns out that he was the last one standing.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
I was saying this to you while we were watching the show. Like, whenever Shane is in a match, it just seems like, hey, my dad owns this company, so I'm going to be in this match.
Right.
Like, it's not, he always seems out of place.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, Kevin Owens, I like him. I'm going to have a match with him. AJ Styles, I like him. I'm going to have a match with him. And it's going to be at WrestleMania.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I do not care for Shane McMahon wrestling.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I like Shane McMahon, the businessman.
Here comes the money.
True.
And there goes the money when he comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Zing. But speaking of Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Him and Sami Zayn made an appearance.
I can't remember if I mentioned this because it's been like 5 hours since we recorded the predictions.
Give or take.
But I do remember at least saying to you, like, you think Shane and you think Sammy and Kevin are going to run in and run some shenanigans on this shit? Sure enough, they did.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I didn't add that I had speculated about earlier was if Daniel Bryan was going to be with them because he has now become so disillusioned with Shane O'Mac.
Oh, yeah.
I would not be surprised if within the next couple weeks we start to see a little bit more of that, because we did see a little bit of that seed planted when Daniel Bryan and Stephanie McMahon were talking in the backstage segment.
But there was no follow-up to what happened on SmackDown, because on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan was like, yeah, we'll address it at Survivor Series, but they never had any interaction.
No, they didn't.
I mean, unless it was during the time that you hit the controller and we went to a different input. But
accidentally changed the channel on the TV.
And you lost all remote rights from then on out.
Yep.
But unless it happened during that period of time, we missed it.
Yeah.
But for Raw side, I mean, I feel like we're talking a lot of SmackDown. But for Raw side, there was a lot of infighting.
Yeah.
But I thought that Joe didn't really get much of a run.
Nope.
Finn looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Until he got RKO'd. And that was your favorite part, I know.
Oh, so much. Because it came from out of nowhere. It was true vintage Randy Orton.
Right. Out of nowhere. Braun Strowman went through a table aided by others
all
that were...
5 SmackDown, including 2 that had been eliminated.
Right. So
I said exterminated.
Ooh. But yeah, I mean, and then Triple H, of course, does the whole Triple H role of, oh, I'm involved, so I need to be the center of attention.
That means I have to stab someone in the back.
Right.
That was so weird when that happened.
So yeah, and the ending of it. So you want to touch on that a little bit? So at the end, Triple H. So it comes down to Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Braun Strowman against Shane McMahon.
Yeah, and Kurt Angle has Shane McMahon in an ankle lock,
right,
or an angle lock.
There you go. Right.
And looks like Shane's gonna tap out for like 2 minutes, and then Angle accidentally gets too far into their corner. Or no, he doesn't.
Trips just comes out.
Trips just walks out and goes boop, and then gives him the old pedigree.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and then just drapes Shane on top of Angle to eliminate him, and then you think that Trips is switching sides because he's giving Braun the eye,
right?
Making sure he doesn't run out.
Which way did he go, George?
But I don't get it. You red, he blue.
I'm country strong.
Yeah. I like steaks and weights.
Yes.
So
yeah, and then Trips goes and takes care of Shane McMahon and calls it over. But then there's that awkward kind of celebration between two of them, and then Braun's like no, and kind of takes him out.
You don't tell me what to do,
right? So I don't know. I guess there'll be something going on there. Maybe Braun Strowman's now a free agent, and he gets picked up.
He did tear off his Raw shirt.
Yeah, but who knows? I mean, it definitely leaves you with some questions going in next week, and that's what they want.
Maybe he'll join SmackDown and become part of the Bludgeon Brothers.
Oh my gosh! I wonder what they're going to do with that bunch.
You'll find out on Tuesday.
I guess
that's when they debut.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, who are they going to go up against?
I don't know
exactly. So we'll see.
Sammy and Kevin.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
Yeah, right.
You know what? They'll probably go up against either the Hype Bros, or I was thinking Gable and Shelton Benjamin.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? So yeah. But speaking of which, what do you think some of the fallout's going to be from this? Are people on the various brands going to start losing faith in their champions?
I don't know. Well, and we're going up to Clash of Champions for next month too. So
yeah, and that's a Raw exclusive pay-per-view.
I don't know. I lose track of it, because it just flip-flops. But I don't know. I think there's definitely some questions on both sides from a leadership perspective, from a general management perspective. So I'm sure we'll get some fallout about that, and whether or not Angle will still run that or will run Raw, or if there'll be something set up between Stephanie and Trips. I think ultimately, like you said on the pre-show, it's going to set something up between Trips and Angle, where they'll clash at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But again, that's a pretty slow burn if they have to do that. I mean, because we're still months away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. That's almost 6 months away at this point.
And the whole Daniel Bryan thing, we'll see what happens there because with the way that he was talking to Stephanie, maybe he wants to start taking over. Shane's role, and maybe Shane gets ousted. Who knows?
Goes away for another 10 years.
Right, exactly. Goes mix some other investments into different Japanese companies.
Just go back to MMA.
Right.
Or just buys New Japan Pro Wrestling so that they can show the
Omega
the Jericho Omega.
Nice. That would be cool. So, I don't know. I think there's some fallout from that perspective, but there's no talent fallout that I could really pick up on other than the infighting that Raw was doing between, Joe and...
Yeah, that's just going to further the Joe and Finn clash that was already there.
Right.
Nothing new.
No.
At most, like now, maybe on SmackDown, the women's division will start being like, hey, you got, was that a tap out?
Yeah.
Yeah, you tapped out to Charlotte, we're all going to challenge you now,
Right.
and that kind of stuff will happen. The Shield will probably go back to beating up the Bar because they're like, hey, one, we have our rematch clause, and two, you guys made us look weak.
Whatever happened to Gallows and Anderson? They kind of fell off.
Yeah, they are doing like house shows as like the buddies of Elias Sampson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a couple of videos of them like singing songs.
That's a dagger
with Elias.
That's a dagger.
I mean, I love me some Elias, but yeah, I like Gallows and Anderson better than that.
Oh, you know what? There is one thing that we forgot about the last match was the tag in to get Finn versus Shin.
Oh yeah,
Finn versus Shin.
Shin Finn.
That was pretty cool. The crowd did go nuts for that. That was pretty. That was a minor mark-out moment in an overly dead kind of match.
My God. Speaking of a dead match, you remember when Cena came in to fight Angle and it just sucked the air out of the entire arena?
How could I forget? Armbar after armbar and roll and then look at each other and smile. That's pretty much what it was. It's just for that to be your main event.
Yeah,
it was a dud.
Yeah,
I mean, it really was.
It would have been so much better if AJ versus Brock had been the main event.
I agree. I mean, it just that
I understand that it's Survivor Series, so you want to have a Survivor Series, match be the main event. But if you're going to do that, it needs to be up to the caliber.
I agree. Yeah, and it was a dud.
Yeah.
But, I mean, overall, I think it was an average pay-per-view. I mean, I wouldn't get too excited about it to go back and rewatch it, other than the two matches that we mentioned.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the best part about this Survivor Series 2017
is that it's the inaugural episode.
You took it out of my...
Sorry, I was worried that you were going to say something else, so I decided to sneak in there. Go ahead, say it.
No, it's fine. You do it.
That it's
the inaugural. Yep, exactly.
Son of a bitch. Now I know how it feels.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the inaugural episode of Geek Out Championship Wrestling.
How cool.
A podcast.
How cool.
So thank you, Timmy C.
Yeah.
We'll see if you still get called that the next episode.
Exactly. And what are we calling you again? Because I don't even think in the pre-show you introduced yourself.
You know what?
So it's like the Timmy C show with another voice
with disembodied voice.
Right, exactly.
I don't know what. You know what? Since I'm the one that called you Timmy C, what do you want to call me?
Oh boy, I don't know. We're gonna have to think about that.
I mean, fans of the Geek Out Podcasting Network might recognize my voice because I am one of the 3 hosts for Catching Up. I do have the Friday the 13th series, and I used to have a Laserdisc series with my friend Ken. I go by Chris.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's kind of plain. We you know what? We'll start with Chris.
Yeah.
And we'll work on it.
Chris, the nature boy.
Woo!
The nature man. Well, that has been Survivor Series, unless there's anything else you want to...
No, I just got to tell you, thank you for inviting me on. This has been fun. This has been great. Hopefully this is the kickstart to something really awesome.
Thank you for being the first person that I've talked to about doing a wrestling show that actually followed through.
Heck yeah.
And came and watched the show with me, sat down and let me hit record.
Heck yeah. This has been a blast. And
yes.
I look forward to our next...
And you can join us next time for Clash of Champions. The show is December 17th. That's a Sunday, which means the episode that we're recording for it will be going up on the immediately following Monday, December 18th.
Yep.
Just like how this is, November 20th, a Monday that you're listening to this.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do we just say bye? Inaugural show. We didn't plan any of that.
Yeah. We'll come up with something cool. But for now, GCW.
GCW. GCW. GCW. GCW.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.